Hello everyone, this is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for October 6th through the 12th of 2019. But I also have a few additional thoughts that I'd like to put on your radar this week because we are truly blessed by the energy of balance. But often that too entails noticing where you've been in extremes or where you've been imbalanced. Just know that you are tremendously supported to do some personal restoration this season. So let's dive in. Thanks to Pluto's 16-year journey through Capricorn, which is happening 2008 to 2024, Saturn's 2-year and change journey through Capricorn, 2018 to 2020, the North nodes take 18 months through Cancer, November 2018 to May 2020, and Chiron's 9-year journey through Aries, 2018 to 2027. And most recently, Jupiter had a 1-year journey through Libra in 2016-17, and Uranus had a 7-year trip through Aries, 2011 to 2018. So thanks to all that big energy, our little annual cycle of winter, spring, summer, fall is constantly a time of intense evolution for one and all. No one is exempt. Everyone has the cardinal sign somewhere ruling some area of life, which is the houses in your chart, even if you do not have any planets animating those energies. That is Aries, Libra, and Cancer, Capricorn. It's good to know your own natural seasonal rhythm, and now that is more important than ever. I look at it like when you commit and take one step in the direction of your goal, then the universe carries you 3 more steps. If you can co-create with the energies available that are shifting your personal, individual fundamentals, then you are ahead of the game. You are choosing your destiny, and you are also making greater strides in a shorter period of time because this is accelerated growth that the big boys always generate. So my point for putting all these on your radar is that these have been ongoing, years in process. Pluto's 16 years got the longest one. Chiron taking 9 to 10 because it spent 10 in Pisces. Now it's going to spend 9 in Aries. It's erratic. Pluto and Chiron's cycles are both erratic. The rest we can track. Exactly. They're very easy to get in sync with. But the point is they've all been animating the social, collective, and then the personal ones dipping in and out of there have been stirring up these fundamentals in recent years. And anytime it's winter, spring, summer, or fall during Aries, Libra, or Cancer, Capricorn time, it's going to be intensified like now. It's Libra time. So with all that in mind, I just want to remind you that Libra time is also one of the 2 times per year that we have access to actual literal balance. So no matter what extremes you've been dealing with, and whether you're in the southern hemisphere moving into the light, or here as we move into the dark time of year, you can call in balance at this time. You can restore your equilibrium, and you can experience harmony even while the worldly chaos continues to swirl. The theme here, if there is one, is balance and compromise, on the heels of sacrifice and purification. So we have also redefined sacrifice as a gift or an offering. In every instance you feel that the universe is asking you to quote-unquote sacrifice something for your own greater good, you could say out loud, "It would be my pleasure to offer this gift. I am delighted to give in this way, knowing I am clearing a space for you, Great Spirit, to fill me and my life with all that will serve my highest good, now and always." What did you give up in the last month, last 6 months, last year? Whether you think you did or you didn't, rest assured that the sorting and sifting got done, and there are parts of you that have permanently shifted or been born completely anew. Now is a time of integration, restoring balance so that you can function at a higher level than before. If you need some help with this, of course, reach out. That is what the Mystic Mentor is for. Also, heads up, Mercury entered Scorpio October 3rd and will be there until December 9th. Mercury retrogrades on Halloween, October 31st, and goes direct about a week before Thanksgiving on November 20th. So that is actually going to help us with our integration process. this tapping into balance and then going deeper to the soul level to see what we really need, Mercury is going to help us with that. We will be processing everything that's come up in the last 1 to 5 years, depending on you and your chart, on a soul level. We will dare to dig a little deeper into our conscious and subconscious terrain to see what is serving or undermining true evolution. I did actually talk about this in last week's follow-up audio, so you can find the links on the blog here or on the Karmic Tools YouTube channel. It was a follow-up to the equinox overview that I did with Shanta Gabriel. I recorded a separate piece where I talked about the Mercury retrograde and 2 other things that escape me at this moment. But Mars also entered Libra on October 3rd. So here's another one of those legs that I opened up with here that is valid and valuable and something that I'm putting on your radar kind of ahead of the curve. But see if you can track with me here. Mars also entered Libra October 3rd and will be there until November 19th. And it hasn't been there since October to December of 2017. It retrograded in Libra before that in 2014. It spent 8 months in Libra, December 2013 to July 2014. Mars rules our desire nature, our energy and fuel and how we direct it, our passions and the sacred masculine, which is the part of you who can negotiate on your own behalf, get your ideas in the world, and keep good, healthy, effective boundaries. I always suggest that we can co-create with Mars when we check in with our true natures every 2 years. In my experience, Mars retrograde has Mars lingering in a sign or house for about 8 months. So I say we invest 8 months of conscious self-work for a 16-month return on investment. We get a chance to renew our passions and desires, as well as how we go about achieving them, every 2 years, which is how long it takes for Mars to move through all 12 signs. Anytime Mars is in Libra, we get an opportunity to tune into what we deeply desire in relationships of all kinds. Fairness, balance, justice, and equality are all something Mars is willing to fight for when in Libra, and awaken within the rest of us. It is time to access your inner balance where you have integrity and graciousness, as well as fierceness to stand up for what you believe in. Here's a snapshot from my Soul's Path series where I created a workbook for every planetary cycle. The Mars in Libra one says, this is a time when you have extremely high ideals. You're shooting for the big dream. Not easily dissuaded as you weigh all aspects of each circumstance as it presents itself. However, then you've got to avoid indecision and step confidently in the direction of your goal. Don't focus too much on how others are directing their energy as much as how you are directing yours. Teach, guide, and lead by example. That's going to be the most powerful and effective use of your energy. Refined strength rather than brute strength is necessary at this time to accomplish the current goals. And that is the goal of Mars in Libra, right? So I just feel like we got to reset something during its retrograde through Libra in 2014, which evolved by 2 years later, October to December of 2017, in a way that we should be able to track a common or continual thread. And now we're getting an opportunity to do some incredible work this go-round. And the reason I feel like the relationship work is really up and good to dive into wholeheartedly is because next year, Mars is going to retrograde in Aries, the sign it rules, which is like doubles its strength. And here is when you will get a chance to invest 8 months in you, who you are, what you truly want, what your purpose and passion really is. And it will really help you if you've worked out some of this ahead of time. You all know my thing is cycles and patterns. So if you're interested in diving deeper into your own so that you can be more effective, of course, feel free to reach out for a reading or a mentoring session because we can go at it from either angle, y'all. But this is a critical juncture in all our evolution where we are defining our terms about what relating human to human really is. And you want to get your vote in. You want to have an intention. You want to be calling in something healthy and balanced and reciprocal and conscious and aware and beautiful and harmonious, and that works. You know, that doesn't keep you in extremes and doesn't take you out one way or another. It works, and it allows everyone to operate at a higher level. So, you know, these things all came to me when I realized that I skipped right on past October 2nd and 3rd, which was, you know, Pluto direct was the last thing I said in the last weekly forecast, and I just didn't even talk about the 3rd for some reason, and I'm not even sure why. Mercury entering Scorpio is a very big deal because that's where it's going to retrograde, and Mars entering Libra, you know, first time in 2 years. It'll be there for about 2 months. And it allows you to get clear about who you are and what you want within the context of relationships. And this is personal, professional, public, private, you know, your relationship with yourself, and work your way out from there. Your partners, your intimate partners, your friends, lovers, co-workers, employees if you have them, all of that. So we relate all throughout our lives, and technology has, let's say, changed that. I'm going to say distorted that. So now the human-to-human contact is not automatic anymore. It's like we have to think about how to be human and how to relate. And I, for one, refuse, as most of you know, since my only social media is YouTube. I'm not doing it that way. I really like the direct connect. So my goal for these relationships is cultivating the new Soul Sisters Circle. So you're going to start hearing a little more about that because my website's almost done, y'all. So hold the vision, because I'm birthing a baby at the moment, and I am definitely in labor. I am shooting to have this baby born and up and running and useful for all of us by the time we got to meet with the ancestors, which is the first week of November. So we'll see. And if it doesn't happen by then, it'll for sure happen by winter solstice. But this is where our home base for the new Soul Sister Circle will be, so I am trying to make it nice and pretty and get it ready for you so that it functions well and is beautiful too. But this is my gig, y'all, and I am looking to help those who want to understand their own cycles better, to work with their own patterns more consciously and co-creatively, and not so much like a victim, like things are happening to you, but more rather like you understand the cycle and what time it is and where the energetic support is, so this is where you're going to put your focus. Because you can be more effective. That's the whole concept behind understanding what any of the planets are doing, is that you understand the energy that's available and what it's, let's say, stimulating or activating within us. That brings in the squares or the opposition. That tells us what to do. Are we growing out of our comfort zone into new territory? Are we in an opposition where we've got to see both sides and find some middle ground? Are we initiating something in a conjunction, or are we completing a cycle right before we initiate a new cycle? Like, these are the repetitive themes throughout your life of being a human that some people have gotten away from, and it's pretty toxic and hard to function if you get away from your humanity and your heart and your grounding and connection to Mother Earth. The farther we float away from her, y'all, the more danger we are in, you better believe. So it's important to cultivate that relationship, the relationship with you and your soul, but the one between you and Mother Earth. Whatever it is, you can be a city person or a country person, doesn't matter. Swamps or mountains, everywhere has a little corner of nature, because this is part of being here. So you have to connect to that part that you resonate with and that you can commune and communicate with, because it's so important to you being a creature on this planet and being a human. So let's tap into that, this Libra, our essence and our magnetics. What are we magnetizing and repelling naturally in terms of relationships? How is that working for you? Are you doing any kind of collaborating or partnering with others and creating something you can't do on your own? Like, that's the whole point and the beauty of Libra, is that the idea is to get with a community and generate some energy that wasn't there before, and to create some change that wasn't there before, and greater change, and it affects more people when two or more gather. So reach out and touch base with me, because I will remind you here again that my list of 2,100 people is down to about 200 people. So there's quite a few. I would say out of that 2,100, there were 1,600 that actually, they say touches the email, but only about 800 of you opened your emails out of that 1,600. So it's still down from 800 to 200. So if you haven't gotten an email from me in a while, it's probably likely that you are one of the ones that got bumped off the list. And I do apologize. That was some more techie stuff. It happens, and we're starting fresh and new, and I'm okay with that. So let's dive into our 3 little activations for this week that are not so little. They're pretty personal. Mercury and Venus are going to oppose Uranus. So there's an awakening, an integration of an awakening that you had within the last year. You have been awakened in your consciousness and awakened in your values and priorities in a certain kind of way that you're at the midpoint in both those cycles. And you know my thing about midpoints in the cycle. You're looking back at that starting point, and you can see things much more clearly. And I would just keep it in 6 to 9 months. Within the last 6 to 9 months, you initiated something new in those realms, and now it's time to check in. And something radically new. That means it initiated with Uranus a little while ago, and now is at the midpoint with Uranus. And so anytime Uranus is touching us in this way, it's stimulating, it's awakening, it's sudden very often. It's a shake-up to wake up. But hopefully we can do that in a good way, in a positive, effective way, rather than the chaos that we know is possible out in the world. Remember, Venus and Mercury, very personal, how you think, how you feel about certain things. This is what Uranus is trying to get to and trying to activate within you. And then the Sun square Saturn is right in the middle, and that means, again, the individual and the responsibilities and obligations that we commit to, your commitments. And a square is a test to grow. So there's something that has to evolve between your Libra and your Capricorn departments. So that's your responsibilities within relationships. How many of us have taken on relationships out of obligation, not things we were really wanting to dedicate to, which is what Saturn rewards. Saturn rewards our dedication. So this week is very personal, and it's also the warm-up as Mercury gets deeper into Scorpio and wants to retrograde. So just keep in mind, we're in the shallows right now, but we're going down into the deeper realms of our subconsciouses to pull things into the light, to honor them, to love them, to deal with them if they're hard and disruptive, and to not have things that are in the shadows or in our unconscious undermining us. I mean, that's the whole point. We bring it into the light so we can work with it, not so that we can be shamed or blamed or made wrong about it, but let's just be aware. So this week is some awareness, awakening kind of stuff, because that's what's going to happen anytime Uranus is involved. So the first one's October 7th, which is Monday. This energy tends to make your mind work in overdrive. Okay, Mercury is kind of lower mind, Uranus is higher mind. They're both very mental. Not that you think too much, but rather that you may tend to think, speak, and process information faster than usual. So those are those quick connections that are instinctual, that you make right in the moment, and that at this moment, they are the ahas that as Mercury goes forward, be aware that over the next 2 to 3 weeks, everything that's coming into your conscious awareness is that fertile ground that Mercury's digging up so that we can grow something delicious and beautiful. However, when you are moving that fast, sometimes you can overlook something vital. The negative expression of this energy tends to make you feel scattered and disorganized. But the positive side of it is making those brilliant connections that are normally just out of reach. Your perception and intuition are picking up so much in such a short period of time that you will want to review the details later to ensure that you didn't overlook something crucial to your development. You may be impatient with same old routines or responses, but check in with your body to make sure it is not just your monkey mind playing tricks on you. It is a good time to breathe and be flexible, because if you are impatient with this energy, you are more likely to make mistakes. Anytime Uranus is involved, radical shifts and aha moments are totally possible on an internal level. However, on an external level, you may tend to blurt things out without proper forethought. Be sure to engage your heart and some kind of filter, especially when communicating with others this week. Deep breath, right? Also on the 7th is the Sun square Saturn. With this energy, it is best to understand that you will have 2 distinct pulls within: obligation to others versus responsibility to self. It's not nearly as bad as it feels. However, it does bring up something we all work really hard to balance to some degree or another, which is our self and others departments. How much do you owe yourself, and how much are you obligated to others? Balance and reciprocity come to mind as guides. One of the challenges of this influence is making negative assumptions that there is no support for you when in truth you haven't asked for any, and help must be invited. Saturn brings up our relationship to time, and some people may feel restricted, as if life, other, is all too demanding, and there is never any time just for the individual. This activation is a push to grow. It's time to hold your own structure in some way and reclaim your inner authority to direct your own life. Others may find their lives falling apart because they have avoided responsibility for so long and now there's no more quote-unquote wiggle room. Rather than have a meltdown, take a nap, breathe, and resolve to wake up with a plan, a strategy for taking the next step, even if that means simply asking for help or guidance from someone older or wiser. It's time to deepen your dedication and commit to yourself in a whole new way. Recognize any current limitations and work with the resources at hand for now. The sun usually illuminates the core essential nature, or the self. So see where you may be stuck and need to break out of a rut of some sort, and trust that taking charge and making a decision and choosing a direction is inviting help from the universe to support your new direction. So it's not about asking other people so much, even though relationships are on the table and us supporting each other is a big deal. It is about inviting the help from the universe in a real way, which is what I was talking about also earlier on, in that at that moment of commitment. Once you take one step in the direction that you want to go in, and Libra energy does bring up a lot of indecisiveness because we are weighing and balancing so many different possibilities. You can get stuck there, and a lot of Libras do. And it's okay. It doesn't make you bad or wrong. It just means that the counterbalance is to go into your Aries, your individuality, yourself, and ask, what does that self want in this relationship? That what is the goal here? And then making that decision gets a lot easier. When we're making decisions trying to figure out what other people are thinking or feeling or what they need, you're going to get screwed up there because you can't possibly know what someone else needs. All you can know is what you need. So it's best to get clear about that. And then our last one is on 10/12, which is Saturday, and it's Venus opposed Uranus. So anytime Uranus is involved, it becomes the wild card and hard to predict how things will unfold. But right now there is a push-pull between your apparent values and your unique individual self. Okay, so we're even going deeper on the individuality piece anytime Uranus is poking at us on a personal level, which Venus and Mercury are personal planets, so this is for us this month. Venus also represents relationships, so you may begin an unusual relationship or you may have something unusual happen in an established relationship. It's not necessarily a good-bad thing as much as an unpredictable shift or sudden awareness, which requires some compromise and integration. This energy works beautifully if your personal truth and values are in alignment. It will be very disruptive if they are not. So be open and flexible while looking for the win-win situation for all involved. Okay, going for the harmony, going for the balance. Liberation is what Uranus is good for. Again, the big boys, when they touch us in these various ways, I was explaining Pluto the other day, and I'm tempted to make a little sidebar audio about it, because they're moving us as a collective along with these larger numbers of people evolving at the same time in a lot of the same ways. And they're not malicious. Like Pluto's death, rebirth, and transformation, or however you want to look at the underworld, is not a negative, bad thing. Pluto never takes away anything that isn't already dead on the vine and decaying and done and over in your life. So we want to love Pluto for purifying our systems and getting us real with ourselves and our truth so that we're so clean and true that we're not afraid of death anymore, that we understand that death is part of life and is part of the process, and we let go of certain things, aspects of self or anything, much easier. Uranus is the same way. For this week, it's not about Uranus shaking you up and creating chaos and upsetting the status quo and just making everybody crazy. It can be that. It often is that. But that's not the goal. The goal is to liberate you from some confine that you have actually outgrown. You're cracking out of it anyway. That's kind of the painful part, is that transformation, that utter transformation. So just look into yourself this week. do some self-preservation, some self-care, whatever you need, self-soothing, whatever it's going to take for you to just take some time to tap into balance. Connect to the places in your life where you have it and you recognize it and honor yourself and know that that is a really good thing, and look at the places where you're out of balance and it's like, okay, that really needs to be addressed. And we've talked about the priority list lately. You know, maybe there's some things that have been at the top that need to go to the bottom, and maybe there's some things at the bottom that need to go to the top of the priority list. And just see how that feels when you play with the idea or you entertain the possibility of radically changing your life in some way that is ideally going to free you in a certain way, not create more confinement or more blockages and delays. Okay, so they're also all about the truth. And the opposition is Taurus Scorpio. So again, we're in the soul and the body. We're in the garden that we have to till and tend to, but God breathes life into it. We are not the breath of God. So we work those together. And this week, that's part of the goal and the lessons. A lot of it is tied to self-worth and self-esteem and what we believe about our own power and how it works and whether it works. And the fixed, Taurus, Scorpio are fixed signs. So this is about anchoring something or permanently releasing something. So if Uranus is going to liberate you, I'm thinking this is permanent release. But it could also permanently awaken you, right? Hopefully you don't fall back asleep, right? But the Sun-Saturn one is very big, very important because it's cardinal. So this has to do with our choices in relationships, our choices for ourselves, how we do that. And we need to up-level in that department as well. So as you can see, I'm feeling very preachy this week. I'm not sure why. But I'm sending lots of love. As I said along the way, reach out if you feel called. If you need a reading, always at the turn of the seasons. You know, people check in annually, quarterly. Whatever works for you is a good time to check in with your cycles. The Astro Tarot is a quickie. You know, that's an easy way to check in with your cycles and just find out where you're at and then get a tarot reading about it. And my general sessions are like $150, and that's a good 90 minutes to 2 hours, whether we're doing mentoring or astrology. I try to keep things in the ballpark of doable for my people. But please share this and let folks know. And again, if you haven't gotten an email from me, you're probably not in the system. And the MailChimp thing requires that you do it through the system. I cannot manually re-add you, even if we know each other, even if you've already put me down as the safe sender, all that good stuff. It's something that if you want to receive emails from me, you've got to go sign up on your own. So I hope you have a wonderful week. We are headed toward the full moon in Aries. So again, we're just very much in this Libra zone. So let's tend to those relationships and figure out what we want there so that when we get to clearing things about ourselves, that goes well. All right. Talk to you soon. Have a great week. And thanks for listening.
This is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and I am so grateful for your time, energy, and support. Please share this with those you think would resonate and reach out if and when you need to. Kelly at KarmicTools.com. The goal of my weekly forecast is to alert you to the energies and activations that we're all experiencing and the possibilities for conscious co-creation as an individual. Awareness of the energies is the first key, but I invite you to take it to the next level by checking out my readings, telecircles, and subscriptions, which are all geared toward individual support that helps you understand your own unique blueprint. My specialty is cycles and patterns, and I love helping people figure out their own within the context of the social and collective rhythm. To some, working with their own cycles and patterns is a completely new and foreign concept, but there are many planetary cycles that coincide with natural life cycles that allow us to co-create in mystical as well as practical ways. I create custom tools that I have tried and tested myself for over 30 years, and I do the work alongside my circle every time. So I hope you will reach out if you feel called to dive deeper into your own soul's natural rhythm. Talk to you soon. One love.